All right, we are live. Welcome back to my channel. Um, Today we're going to give you a housing market update, and we're going to look at this case of a lovely couple who paid $60,000 above the market, above the asking price in this kind of insane bidding war. And we're going to talk about the factors that led up to why that happened. We're going to crunch the numbers. And at the end, I'm going to give you my final thoughts and also a positive note. There may be some hope. If you're in the market for a house or even a condo, there may be some hope on the horizon. And I'll talk about that at the end of this video. But first, let's take a look at what's happening in the red hot Seattle housing market, where this couple resides. And you read this story and you kind of feel for them. I'm not in the market for a house right now. I already bought my place. It's been about 6 years, and reading their story made me really sympathize for what people are going through right now. If you need a place to stay, you need a place to stay. So let's take a look at their story because I think it is indicative of what's happening nationwide, and we can infer some things about the housing market in general. Okay, so bring up the screen. This is an article in the Seattle Times. Um, you know, they're talking about how paying $60,000 above asking price feels like a deal. Can you imagine that? $60,000 above market, and they're relieved. They're actually happy that the search is over, right? Um, and it's just incredible. I mean, this is an excerpt from their story, and I thought it was really, really revealing about what's happening. Um, reading from the text, after trying to nurse our bruised egos and hurt feelings in utter disgust, I understand that feeling, considering what happened about losing out on the other house. The couple opened up their search to townhouses, said Owen, who works in technology for a healthcare company. Now, the fact that they opened up their search to townhouses is very significant, which you'll see, and I'll discuss at the end of this video when we talk about some positive signs. But to continue, last month they closed on an 800,000 four-bedroom townhome in Linwood with space for a home office and rooms for their teenagers, he said. It does sound like a nice place. 800,000 is really high though. In the end, the couple paid 60,000 over the home's 740,000 list price. And unbelievably, look at this. That felt like it felt like a deal to them. You know, quote, which 60,000 is a massive amount of money. Owen said, to think we got excited about it for only 60,000 over. Only 60,000 over. You know, if I might share my own story, like I said, I bought some years back, and I actually bid below the asking price, and it was accepted. Right? Me and my agent felt like we got a great deal. I live in Southern California, and a condo here easily goes for over $400,000. Yeah, it's an incredible amount of money. I never thought I'd be paying that much for a condo, but at the time I did feel like, that I got a deal because it was below asking price. And now my place is easily worth over $560,000. You know, um, it's a little bit hazy, obviously, because I haven't put it on the market and tested that, but um, it's gone up easily over $100,000, because of the rising tide of the real estate market. And that's simply incredible, right? But anyways, to go on, just want to share my personal story with you guys. What has led to this condition? What has caused this couple to feel like, I'm happy. We are relieved and happy that we paid only 60,000 over the asking price. What's going on here? You got to scratch your head and wonder what's going on. Well, I talked about it, you know, and let's now get into it. Look at the inventory situation that we've got on our hands right now. Okay. Um, Looking at, even back to January 2018. Okay. So this data comes from Realtor.com. They had 1.3, I'm going to say 1.3 million single family homes available for sale. And up to August of 2020, which is pretty much the latest data, right? We are looking at maybe 500, a little bit over 500,000. Okay, so I would say that's less than half of the peak that you see here. Okay, so when you're wondering about the story of the housing market right now, of course, there's the pandemic, right? That's driving demand for more space because of remote work and all that. Of course, there are supply constraints in terms of hiring workers. I've talked a lot about the labor shortage, right? And of course, there are material costs that are going up because of COVID, safety protocols, and supplies, and then there was that spike in lumber prices and all that, right? But the overall factor, the overriding factor, the thing that really determines the picture of the housing market right now is this chart right here. Yeah, I want to make sure I'm pointing in the right direction. Inventory is simply too low, right? That is the driving factor about everything else that's happened. That's why this couple is being forced to pay 60,000 over ask price, and they're happy about it, right? It's just incredible, right? There was a research note. I'm going to bring that up on screen so you guys can see it better. From Goldman Sachs. I know we all have mixed feelings about Goldman Sachs, but sometimes their research is spot on. So I'm using my judgment as an economist, someone who's objective. I don't make money off of this channel. I just want to spread some good, objective economic news and analysis. And I'm using my judgment to filter out the bad, the bad takes, and I feel like what they're saying is actually what I've been saying for a long time. What lots of housing experts are saying for a long time, which is this, right? While low mortgage rates and the shift to working from home are also fueling housing demand, one underappreciated reason for the price boom is that housing supply is very tight. The investment bank's economist said. Well, I don't know that it's actually underappreciated, right? I don't think it is underappreciated. I think everybody's been talking about it and maybe even screaming about it. Certainly, I've been talking about this, that supply is the overriding factor in the housing market right now. So I don't know why they say underappreciated, because we all appreciate it. Even the people like this couple that you just saw, okay? I'm sure they're well aware that the supply of homes is way low. It's not enough. But anyways, to go on, it's quoting again from the Economist at Goldman Sachs. While the easing of temporary bottlenecks such as material constraints and pandemic labor supply effects should support an eventual recovery in supply, more persistent complaints such as land use regulations should continue to push up housing prices in coming quarters, especially in the US, Canada, and UK, the bank predicted. In short, even if demand starts to waver, supply problems could bolster prices for some time. And you know what? They're exactly right. And I'm not claiming prescience or some brilliant insights, because it was pretty obvious from the data. I think from the very first market analysis that I posted on this channel, I talked a lot about how supply had been drastically depleted because builders were still feeling the after effects of the great housing crash, the Great Recession, and the housing crash where they lost a lot of money, and a lot of them went bankrupt. And the hangover from that made them very reluctant to ramp up housing supplies. And here's one thing that we should also consider. When the pandemic lockdown started, everybody was so sure, including myself, I admit it, including myself, that this is going to really, really cool the housing market because, well, we're all stuck at home. Where are we going to go? Right? What we underestimated, we didn't factor in, is the fact that people are looking at the pandemic and say, hey, you know what? I might be doing remote work, or I'm told I'm doing remote work, and I need more space, right? My kids are home. They're driving me crazy, and I don't know what to do with them. I need another room. I need a den. I need an office space so I can get some peace, right? And so this demand for more space and the ability to move out to the suburbs is really the story on the demand side of the real estate market. It's really the suburbs where people are from the big cities are moving in and saying, I've got the money to buy up these houses. And a lot of people who are living in the suburbs are angry because they're getting squeezed out. But the even more determinative factor in the housing market right now is the supply situation. Now, there is a note of hope that I'll discuss at the end of this video, but right now it's a supply situation. By the way, if you like this content, you're finding it useful, consider clicking like and subscribing. It really helps me with the algorithms. It's tough fighting all this YouTube algorithm stuff and trying to break through. But anyways, let's continue on. So this is a price increase chart of the Seattle market. So the couple that you saw at the beginning were searching for a home in the Seattle red hot housing market, and their experience is pretty much expected, because if you look at this chart right here, I mean, this is just really incredible. I mean, let me bring it up a little bit larger. So look at the predominant color in terms of price increases. So most of it is in the 20 to 30% increase. You've got some over here where the price increase is 30% or greater, 30% or higher, right? And most of it is 20 to 30%. I mean, that's huge for house price increases. Now, I believe this is year over year change in prices. So this is comparing the month of this year to the month of previous year. And if you're not aware, the reason why we do this, is that housing is a very, very cyclical business, right? So comparing month to month actually doesn't tell you as much as comparing this month to last month, because there are always seasonal factors, kids going in and out of school. And so in terms of seeing what's really happening with the real estate market, you really have to compare this month of this year to the previous month of last year. That's why. Okay. And look at this color. I mean, you don't have to dig too far into this chart. You don't have to dig into the actual numbers. I mean, this says it right here. Look at the price increases. Most of it is 20 to 30% or higher. Okay. So let's see a breakdown of the Seattle market. Okay. So home price activity in the Puget Sound region. Median is the price at which half sold for more and half sold for less. So let me just give you a quick explanation of why these kind of charts use median. Is because you might have a single home that sells for $5 million, and that's going to distort the average, right? So that's why median is a better sense of home price movement in the real estate market. So anyways, again, there's no need to dig too far into all the minutiae of this thing. I mean, simply look at the line. This is bad. I mean, it's not bad if you're a homeowner and you're seeing, pricing increase, but everything's going straight up, straight up, straight up, straight up, straight up. And here's the dilemma that's being faced by a lot of people in the housing market, which is, do I wait for the market to cool down a little bit, or do I buy now at what I consider to be insane prices? It's a really, really hard decision. And what that couple found out, and what many people are finding out, is that by waiting for the market to cool, the price only went up. Okay. And after some waiting period, you know, um, all you're finding right now is that you're gonna pay more. That's a horrible situation. It's really, really tough. So I don't know. It's a little crazy right now. Um, and let's dig further into this price activity. So August home sales in King County. Okay, look at these median prices. Seattle, East Side. Median prices in Seattle is 1.3 million. In Seattle, 875,000. I mean, this is getting right up there with Southern California, LA County prices. You know, um, so look at the percentage change in Seattle: 6.6%, East Side 24%, North King Country 18%. These are obviously very, very high-end neighborhoods. South West King County 15%, Southeast 23%. Okay, so you look at these percentages, and you know that we've got a hot market on our hands. Okay, now one thing that has been interesting, and this is something that we need to discuss, is that condo prices did not rise proportionally, with single-family homes, right? Which I'm kind of sad about, because I live in a condo, and the single-family homes in my area have definitely gone up at a faster pace, right? The question is why? Why is it that single families versus condos, and single families have consistently had faster and more price increases? Well, it really goes back down to the pandemic. People are looking for space, right? And so this is in the data, further validation that what's driving a lot of the market conditions still remains the pandemic. We've got the Delta variant coming up. It is proving to be somewhat of a damper on economic growth right now. I did a previous video about this. I will do more as a follow-up. But the reason why condos didn't have that persistent rise is because people just kind of passed them by. Like I said, I bought my condo before the pandemic, years before. And now people are looking at condos and saying, hey, I'm on the market because I need space, right? I need space. So that was going on. But now let's take a look at this condo sales. You see in Seattle, it's actually gone down a little bit. Again, that pressure for more space, backyard. For my kids are staying home, But still, look at these price increases here in North King County: 32%, Southwest 14%, Southeast King County 14%. You know, the interest in condos is actually starting to go up now, and it's really because of what that couple experienced. Okay, so let's take a quick look. This summer, Dan Pierce listed a one-bedroom Ballard condo for sale at $350,000. Soon after, the condo sold for $367,000 to an out-of-state buyer looking for a second home. Pierce said he wanted to offload the property and another in West Seattle, both rentals, in response to tenant-friendly legislation from the Seattle City Council and the improving market. We listed it and had scheduled an open house the following weekend. But before we even got to that, before they even got to the open house, we had two competing offers that came in. So it feels like that was pretty hot. Yeah, it is pretty hot, right? Um, Many people are sending their offers sight unseen, even before the inspections are completed. That's insane. That's crazy. But that's the market right now, you know? Yeah, but the question is, you know, um, why is the townhome and the condo market suddenly rebounding? Okay. Well, let's dig into that. We know that inventory is the overriding story of the housing market. And all those people who are looking for more space and who are looking for a single family are now uh, saying, we got to expand our options. Just like that couple said, okay? They started looking for single family and said, we need to expand our option, our options to townhomes because there's nothing out there, right? In that sense, by expanding their preferences, they expanded the inventory of homes that was available for sale. It's actually a rational decision, right? And so that's what's really happening right now. Okay, because the single family home inventory is so low and the competition and demand is so high, people are now being pushed toward uh, condos and townhomes, right? And that's indicative of the supply situation we have right now. That's the reality. And that's when paying $60,000 above asking price for a townhome feels like normal, feels like a deal to a couple. Okay? So, some final thoughts and the positive note that I mentioned. Okay? If you're out there looking for a place to buy, right? If you need a place to buy, you need a place to buy. Maybe it is time to look at, alternative other than single family homes because what's happening in the market right now is that they are now also experiencing increasing demand, and those prices, including probably my condo, the prices are going to keep going up. Okay. Now, that's a tough sell. I mean, that's a tough situation. But let me give you one note of hope, which I will expand on in a follow-up video. Okay. So let me. So, housing inventory plunged during the pandemic, but it's finally starting to tick up. Okay. This is data again from Realtor.com, month-over-month change in the number of homes for sale, right? And this data is updated to July of this year, so it's very recent data. Let's take a look at this chart. In recent months, um, inventory is starting to tick up. So what's happening here? What's really happening here? Okay, let's not blow this out of proportion. This is percentage, month over change, percentage change. And there's really two things that are happening here, right? One thing is what I've discussed all the time. When I analyzed the housing market and said, how high can this go? And I kept talking about the affordability index, right? Well, that's what's happening here, right? You saw the couple having to move away from single family to townhomes and still paying $60K above asking price. There are many, many more people out there, many more couples are saying, we're not going to pay. Okay? You have hit a price where we simply can't pay, right? We refuse to pay, or we simply can't pay because it's too high, right? So we are starting to creep into the affordability wall that I've talked about before. The other thing is that, I think home builders are starting to, um, to build more units, although it's been difficult due to pandemic conditions. So I wouldn't say that there's going to be a huge surge in supply, but between the affordability issue and then home builders feeling more confident about bringing new units onto the market, I think there might be some increase in the inventory supply. We'll have to watch to see what happens, and that'll be again in a follow-up video. But anyways, I hope you found that useful. I just thought, the story of that couple is, I mean, it's eye-opening, to say the least. And you know, I'll follow up with some of the other videos on inflation and labor market and all that